Hey guys, welcome to Project Metal Music's YouTube channel with your host Young, and we are here with the brilliant Michael from the band Mezmerizer. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you very much, and good evening, everyone, and hello, and all that. Yes,
Hmm.
great to be here.
Oh, cool. Yes, glad you be here. So, Michael, could you introduce yourself and what you do within the band, Mezmerizer band?
Yeah, I'm the vocalist in the band Mezmerizer. See if I can have the cover right here. It's the debut album, Whispers of Leviathan, which we released in a little while ago. But anyway, um, yeah, we're here to talk about that album and the band and me as the vocalist. Yeah.
Cool, cool. So, let's dive into some questions. As a kid, what were you listening to?
As a kid, that's a lot of years ago, but I do remember though. But I mean, I grew up in a home where all sorts of music were played all the time. So I was quite lucky, we had an eight-track, eight-digger thing, so there was a lot of music on that one. But I think that one of the main things that I do remember though is my father had a lot of these 70s rock and metal album. So it was Deep Purple, Uriah Heep, Led Zeppelin, AC/DC, Black Sabbath, the works really. So I heard a lot of that. But what made the greatest impression on me, one of the earliest impressions I got, was to hear Let There Be Rock by AC/DC on the eight decker. That was because you had these things moving up and down due to the beak or and I never forget the drumming of Phil Rudd doing that. That sort of energy was like magic to me. It was straight into my body and my brain and my heart.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah. Mhm.
yeah, yeah. It's that album. Yeah, totally get it. Totally get it. Totally get it. So, um, who apart from your dad, who actually influenced you in sin? Who actually influenced you in listening to music? Was it was it a sibling, or was it school friends, or was it a journey of self discovery?
Well, I mean, I'm born on the countryside, and that means that there weren't that many people who were listening to that music. So later on, I got some friends, and they influenced me somewhat. But my journey towards listening to rock and metal and everything, I think that I was very dependent on radio, really. I was listening to a lot of radio programs, and in those days it was before the internet. Can you imagine? But there is a time before the internet, really. And I was just, I mean, I sat with my cassette recorder, and then I would, I had these programs that I knew would play some music. And in those days, I mean, there was also music shops, and I think that I went to some of these music shops, and then just sometimes I was just pushing my luck. I think that some of the back in 87, 88, something like that, I started out buying that. And one of the earliest things I got was actually, it was one of them was Hysteria with the Flipper, and the other one was Seven Son of a Seven Son with Iron Maiden. So
Cool.
those two cassettes were of a huge importance to me in those days. But those were based on simply listening to the radio and thinking, oh well, I would really like to hear that. So I took my spare, all the money I could get, and then went to these stores and bought it on cassette.
Cool, cool, cool. So, out of all the bands that you've listened to over the years, who was your main influence to say, "I want to do that. I want to get up on stage and sing"?
Um, the band that made the most impact on me in that, like playing and that's without a doubt Motorhead.
Yeah,
Even though Motorhead is not really what you would call, it's not what I do, not with my voice or anything. But to me, Motorhead represents in many ways that sort of lifestyle not in the drinking and the drug department, but more in the, I like the idea of making an album, going on tour, and then go back and make an album, and then go on tour, and then stick with that, and
Yeah.
let it be a natural process, because that's one of the things that I think that we've spent too much time on these days, is cross marketing and all sorts of weird stuff going on. I mean, when do you have time for actually being a musician? And Motorhead was a band that just represented that. That was like,
Yeah.
we're just rock and roll. We play rock and roll, and that's our lifestyle. That's what we do. That's all there is to it. And actually also with a certain dimension of actually being intellectuals. So that certainly had a huge impact on me. Still has, really. Sometimes if I'm feeling a little bit disillusioned with it all, I just crank up some Motorhead, and then I know where to go once again.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say Motorhead solves everything. Like, if in doubt, Frank, put some Motorhead on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you have a shit day, just put on Sacrifice, and then you know where what to do.
Yeah. 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 So, were you in any bands prior to Mesmerizer?
Yes. Prior to Mezmerizer, I was. I've been singing. I had been singing in Artillery for around 12 years. So I've done quite a few gigs, and I did 4 albums with Artillery, including a live album also. So 5 albums in all. And I also sang in a band called Ripe. So I don't know how mature we were, but the band's name was Ripe, and we did 3 albums as well. And that was, some of it was prior to Artillery, and some of it was actually doing during my tenure with Artillery as well. So that's sort of my main background, yeah, before being a part of Mezmerizer. Yeah.
Cool. So, what has the band been up to, especially in the last 12 months or so?
Well, I mean, most importantly, of course, the release of our debut album. That was one thing, but I think that when I left Artillery, I didn't know what really to expect. There was a change of how I could work as a singer as well. So what Mesmerizer and Fleming brought along, the guitarist who was the main composer behind. I mean, he wrote this album in many ways before I joined, and then I came in, and we sort of put the pieces together, and all the lyrics and all the vocal lines are mine, and so on. But anyway, I didn't know what to expect really. So getting to know each other and write together, and and finding out what we actually want to do. So I think what is going to happen now is actually to look into writing more material. We already have an EP in the works, so there will be an EP hopefully very soon, and then we'll see. Live gigs is certainly something that we want to do as well. Let's see how we will get our heads around that. But well, something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Could you tell us a little bit about your the first album?
Yes, I mean, once again, it's Whispers of Leviathan, and it's released on the Swedish label Downfall Records. They have been very nice to us, and they were quick to respond. I didn't know whether or not, these days you're signed on the behalf of having 1 million followers on Facebook, and we could just say, well, we got this album, and then what do you think? And they liked it, and they were quite, quick to just set everything in motion, and that was really nice. But I mean, this album was hugely inspired by George Orwell's 1984, and Fleming, the guitarist, is also very, he's an educated, he's working in law and teaching that, and so a lot of the things that we see in the world today, and a lot of the concerns we have, is actually, quite easy to put in perspective when you're reading George Orwell's 1984. That book had a huge impact on me, and so the album in many ways revolves around this dystopian world that we might already live in. And the music as well was something that I think the Fleming wanted it to try a lot of stuff, and not just simply make a plain metal album, but to do a lot of intricate stuff. Put in some, strange rhythms, and try some different structures for the songs as well. So, so being a little bit curious and maybe just simply do make our own playground. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. So, going sort of like on the songwriting, normally my head moderator normally asks us, what is your process on writing a song? What comes first?
Well, in this case, and I think that in general, as it is right now, Fleming, the guitarist, he comes up with the main idea, uh, and then I'm giving sort of free rein to do whatever I want in terms of the lyrical aspects and the vocal lines. And then I mean, we have an evening where we listen to what he'd done, and then I come with pointers and ideas and say, well, maybe we should do this, and maybe we should add this, or maybe we should cut this out of, throw it over here, and whatever. So it's a very democratic process, and and then we just bring what we I think do best to the table. Let's see. I mean, this is the first album, and my experience is as you grow as bandmates and as friends and everything, things might evolve. But because songwriting is primarily built on trust and respect and all that, so. And there's no lack of that, so I can only imagine what we could come up with in the future. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, true, true. So, going on to, have you sort of like been writing for a new EP or new album?
Both actually. I think that we wanted to maybe have a quicker release than to wait for a new album. So, and I like the idea. I mean, Ghost is doing sort of always, at least for the last couple of albums, they've been including a small EP release in between the studio albums. Sometimes also including either original tracks or cover songs. And I think that what we want to do is obviously to have an entire EP with original songs, but with maybe a smaller concept. Since Whispers of the Leviathan was an album with a big concept for 12 songs, and we found that maybe it was a bit much to do again, and we had another smaller idea running around, and we figured maybe we should just try it and do that. And then maybe the next album we'll do is more single songs. So we have like maybe 10 or 12 tracks with their own little world. But let's see. Yeah.
Cool,
So that
cool,
was it. Yeah.
cool. Are you going to be releasing any sort of like singles of the your debut album or your EP to promote for promotion?
Yeah, I mean, Whispers Leviathan had quite. I mean, we had 4 videos you could watch on YouTube. So those are available. Yeah, I think that whenever we are ready, some stuff will come out as a single. Yeah, certainly. I think that is a necessity these days. But it's also nice to have a visual side to the music, and we tried some. I mean, at least on my behalf, I tried some new stuff in doing these videos this time around, because we wanted it to be videos that had certain amount of focus on the message of the songs, whereas in the past maybe it's more like glamour. Look at the band and how cool we look and all that. So I think that what we could expect from Mezmerizer is also always more conceptual videos with maybe less posing and more message.
Yeah,
Perhaps. Let's
cool.
see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Is there going to be sort of like any merchandise, like t-shirts, hoodies, stuff like that?
Yeah. I mean, if you go to Dawnfall Records homepage, you can find t-shirts and hoodies, and I think also, yeah, you can have a cup, beer. Sorry,
Yeah,
a cup of coffee thing, and a cap, I think, as well. So it's quite a few items you can have, really. So,
cool.
so there's
Yeah,
merchandise.
yeah, cool, cool. Staying on with the merchandise type of thing.
Mhm.
Obviously, you got your first album on CD. Uh, is there any plans or discussions about putting your music onto vinyl records?
Well, we would certainly love to. We dabbled with the idea. Um, since this is a debut record, we could tell that that we would have to invest quite a fair amount of money in doing so. We still want to do it, so I think it's not completely impossible. I just don't have a date for it yet. But I mean, if I mean, we used a local artwork artist, and he came up with this, and I think it's actually quite cool. I really like it, and it is not AI. It's actually done by
Yeah,
human hands.
yeah, cool. Yeah,
So I
cool,
figured I would like to have this in a big format as well as a vinyl. So I hope that will be something that we can do, luckily or hopefully in the near future. Yeah.
cool, cool. We have a question from Aussie Ann 2025, who's in Australia. She asks, any tours or gigs planned? And if so, where? And if you had the funds ready?
Well, we don't have any tours or gigs planned. That's the quick answer, sadly. But I mean, as I said, we are trying to work out how to do this. We would certainly like to do gigs and tours as well. So, but touring and playing these days is quite expensive, but we also do know that starting out as a new band, we also have to be thankful for just having people wanted to see us. So I think we're quite cheap on that. If you have a gig and it's sort of financial viable, we are ready to do it. But I think that yeah, it all depends on finding where we could fit in. Maybe doing a support tour with some band will be an awesome way to expose
Yeah,
Mesmerizer. So I'm all in for it. Yeah. So
yeah, yeah. So it's sort of like staying on with the tours. If you did have the funds to go out on tour, where would be your dream tour? Where would you love to go?
oh, I mean, luckily I've been able to tour quite a bit with artillery. We've been most places really, apart from the Middle East and Africa. But apart from that, we've actually been in Australia and New Zealand and the Philippines and Asia and Americas, the Americas as well, Canada and South America and Europe. So all those places I've been to, and certainly also England and Wales and Scotland and Ireland. I must
Cool.
stress here. But so my if I have to be completely honest, without no BS, I have
Mm.
to say that I actually just simply like playing and going out and meeting people. But I mean, it certainly was a huge experience to do gigs in Australia and New Zealand, also because the mentality in those countries, in Australia and New Zealand, was quite close to Scandinavian actually. So I felt very much at home when I came to Australia the first time. I was really surprised, and it was nice. I felt quite at home, even though I was on the other side of the world, on the globe. But I mean, I just enjoy playing and enjoy traveling, so I'm open for wherever. Yeah.
Cool, cool. Thank you for that, Ozzy. So sort of like staying on like the tour. What was your favorite venue to play at?
A venue I have played at, my favorite
Yeah,
venue.
yeah,
Um, I mean, we did a gig in Japan at some point where we were playing the club sitter, and we did that together with Exodus and you know there was sorry, Voivod was there as well, I think, and then we also have Sanctuary with Warren Dane. So that was quite intense, but it was a very nice venue. And there was I think it was there was quite a few people there. I think like 3,000 people every night, and there was a good sound and everything. That was a nice venue. Uh, I played the Whiskey at the Go Go. It's not a nice venue as such, but it's a historical venue. Um, but so
Yeah.
yeah, and I played a few of the O2 Odeons in England as well, and those were great to play at as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Cool. Cool.
yeah.
Cool. So, let's just get the questions up. So, where can people find you on their social media?
Well, there's a Mezmerizer Facebook page you can go to. Yeah, and there you can follow us. I think that that's it, really. There's a YouTube channel as well, of course. You can find us on YouTube, and there's a
Cool.
YouTube channel. So, and while we're working our way around getting ourselves onto some other social media platforms as well, but we're all guys, so we have to learn all that stuff, which people nowadays take for a completely natural thing. So we
Yeah.
need to
Cool.
to learn how to be more online, I suppose. But Facebook
Yeah.
is certainly possible. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. So, so you post up there for like for all the updates for the everything band related.
Yeah, that's the place to go to. That's where we post everything that we do, and of course also on our personal profiles. But I mean, the Mesmerizer profile will have everything that we do. So interviews and you know radio shows that we are a part of, or possibly, hopefully, gigs in the future as well, and promotional material, videos, so on. Yeah. Mhm.
Cool, cool. So, guys, in the chat, if you got any more questions, please feel free to ask, because we're going to be starting to wrap up things in the next 5-10 minutes or so. So, get your questions in now. So, Michael,
Mhm.
um, any advice for people who want to become musicians, whether it be just for themselves or thinking about going down sort of like the professional route to record or even perform their own music?
Yeah. Um, I think that one of the most important things is to do it for yourself. Do it because you don't can live without doing it. The passion for writing and playing together and stay on your own course is, I think, important. But you should never do it for the money, because you won't find them. And unless of course you're the 1% that gets really lucky or whatever. But and you maybe would also have to know that if you are starting out as a musician and you are having a band and you are rehearsing and you're doing the odd gig or maybe more, that there's also you have to have everything cleared out with your home as well. Make sure that everybody supports your idea of doing it, because having a clear conscience when you go out to play a gig is a very important thing. Otherwise, it will eat you up. But otherwise, I will just say that you know, uh, yeah. Once again, passion is important, um, and be curious, really, and maybe a bit humble in terms of what you need to learn and what you need to understand, because it's a learning curve and it's always moving because the business is changing so quick. So, and then. Yeah, go at it with an open mind, and stick together and communicate as a band. Especially make sure that you are communicating whatever is going on. It's like having a very weird relationship with five or four or so other members, or four other girlfriends or whatever you want to
Yeah,
put it. So that
yeah,
can be a
cool.
difficult thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it can be. It can be. Yeah, you got 5 different people and 5 different ideas and all trying to melding together.
Yeah.
But constant communications is a key. Is
Yeah.
definitely a key.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sound advice there. Sound advice. So, Michael, we're going to start wrapping things up. So, have you got any final words?
Well, yes. I mean, first of all, thank you very much for you know listening to this and watching this, and thank you for supporting Mezmerizer, and thank you all for just giving new music a try and being interested in music. For because these days there are a lot of stuff coming out, and I think that to have someone to spend a little bit of time on what you do is just of great value. So I wish you all great health and good life, and staying metal and all that stuff.
Yeah, true. Yeah, yeah. Stay metal, everybody.
Mhm.
So, Michael, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure. Been an absolute pleasure, and thank you again.
Well, thank you very much for having me. It's as you said, it's been a pleasure and really cozy and a nice chat and all. So
Yeah,
thank you very much for having
yeah,
me.
yeah. My pleasure. My pleasure. So, guys, if you haven't checked out Mesmerizer, go down in the description. There's the links there. These guys are absolutely amazing, and there's Mesmerizer's debut album there. Go check them out. They've also got a YouTube channel there. Go check out the music as well. And yeah, again, Michael, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a total pleasure.
Thank you very much.
So until next time, guys, we'll catch you all later.